You start bar build, a sharper tool, and almost immediately you hit a wall you didn't know was there. Stone shatters, wood rots and bends, bone snaps. Everything you can shape with your hands has a ceiling, and you've already reached it. The fire that saved your life can boil your water and warm your hands, but it cannot, on its own, give you the one thing every machine in the old world was made of: metal, and metal does not want to be found. Here's the trap nobody warns you about. A civilization built only from wood, stone, and fire isn't a young civilization. It's a finished one, finished at the Stone Age, forever with a hard lid on everything it can ever become. No gears, no blades that hold an edge. No nails, no pipes, no engine parts, no wire. Every leap the modern world ever made started with someone pulling metal out of rock. And the cruel part is that the metal is already everywhere around you, in the dirt, in the cliffs, in the black sand of the riverbed. The planet is drowning in it. It's just locked inside the stone, bonded to oxygen, hidden as dull, or that looks like nothing. The metal age doesn't begin when you find metal. It begins when you learn to set it free. And there is an order to it. A ladder, with rungs you have to climb in sequence, because each metal you hands you the tools to reach the next. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how humans climbed out of stone, how they made fire hot enough to bleed rock, which metal came first and why, the strange trick of mixing two soft metals into one hard one, and the single hardest rung of all, the one that ended the Stone Age and started the world you live in. It's a story about heat and patience and one quiet idea that changes everything. Start with the problem. Your fire isn't hot enough. An open campfire burns around 600 or 700 degrees. To break metal out of rock, you often need to pass 1,000. So the first invention isn't a metal at all, it's a hotter fire. Tool tricks do it. First, you don't burn wood, you burn charcoal. Wood bakes slowly in a low oxygen pit until it becomes almost pure carbon. Charcoal burns far hotter and cleaner than the wood it came from. Second, you force air into it. A simple bag of skin, or a tube you blow down, pumping oxygen into the coals like wind into a sail. More oxygen means a faster burn, and a faster burn means more heat. Pile charcoal into a clay chimney, force air through the bottom, and you've built the first furnace, a box whose only purpose is to be hotter than anything in nature. That box is the real beginning. Everything metal that humans ever made came out of some descendant of that glowing clay chimney. Now, which metal first? The answer is the one that gives up. Easiest. Copper. Certain green and blue stones, ores. Sitting in plain sight. Hold. Copper so loosely that your new furnace can. Shake it loose. Heat the ore with charcoal, and the carbon rips the oxygen away from the metal. And molten copper runs out the bottom like bright liquid. The first pure metal humans ever poured. And copper is wonderful. You can hammer it, melt it, cast it into any shape a clay mould will hold. But it's soft. A copper knife bends. A copper edge rolls dull. So humans were still, in a sense, stuck until someone discovered the strangest trick in the whole story. Take soft copper, add a small amount of another soft metal, tin. Neither one, alone, is hard. But melt them together and you get something that is harder than either. Bronze. It's alchemy that actually works to weak things combining into a strong one. Bronze holds an edge. Bronze casts into armor, blades, tools, bells. An entire age of the world is named after this one accident of mixing. And it taught humanity the lesson that powers all of chemistry to come. That the recipe matters as much as the ingredients. Bronze has a problem. Whole kingdoms rose and fell on the trade routes that carried it. So the world needed a metal that was everywhere. And there was one, hiding in plain sight, in the most common form imaginable, iron. It's in the red of rust, the dark of certain rocks, the black grit of iron sand you can pull from a river with nothing but a magnet. Iron is the most abundant useful metal on Earth. There was just one catch. It's far harder to win than copper. Iron clings to its oxygen with a fierce grip, and its melting point is so high that early furnaces couldn't liquefy it at all. So humans did something cleverer than melting. They smelted, heating the ore with charcoal until the iron, still solid, separated out as a spongy. Glowing mass called a bloom, riddled with impurities. Then they hammered it, beat it, folded it, beat it again, driving the slag out blow by blow until what remained was tough. Workable iron, brutal, slow, and worth it, because now the hard metal came from common dirt, not rare trade. And then the final secret. Cook that iron with just the right amount of carbon from the charcoal, and it transforms again into steel. Harder, springier, sharper than anything before it. The metal that builds skyscrapers and engines and the blade that stays sharp. That was the summit. The day humans made steel from sand, and fire is the day the Stone Age truly, finally ended. Here's the thing nobody tells you about the Metal Age. The real invention was never any single metal. It was the bootstrap. Look closely at the ladder and you'll see it. You need a hot furnace to make copper. But you need copper and bronze tools to build a better furnace, which gets hot enough for iron. And iron tools build the furnace that makes steel. And steel tools build everything after. Each rung hands you the tools to cut the next rung. That's the engine the whole modern world runs on. And it has a name worth remembering. Tools that make better tools. A stone civilization is stuck because stone can only ever make more stone things. The moment you have metal, you have a machine for improving your machines, and from there, the climb never has to stop. That not any blade or bell is what actually ended the old world. So what does metal actually unlock? Everything that has a moving part. Gears that mesh. Springs that store force. Nails that hold a frame. Pipes that carry water. Hinges, blades, needles, wire. You cannot build a clock, a mill, an engine, or a generator out of wood and stone. They would crush, bend, and burn. Metal is the material that finally lets humans build machines that do work for them. Tirelessly, precisely, the same way every time. The Stone Age could shape the world by hand. The Metal Age could build things that shape the world without a hand on them. And once you can do that, once you have a hard, precise, repeatable material, you are one short step away from the most powerful trick of all, making our machine that spins and pulling something invisible out of that spin. We are so surrounded by metal that we've gone blind to it. The phone in your hand, the frame of your home, the car, the spoon, the screw, thousands of years of furnace fire. Refined down into objects so ordinary you never think about where they came from. We forget that for most of human history, a single iron knife was a treasure worth more than a month's work. That an entire age of our species was defined by which metals it could and couldn't free from the rock. The furnace was one of the first machines we ever built whose only job was to be hotter than the world. And we used it to climb out of the Stone Age one molten drop at a time. Then we hid all that struggle inside a paperclip. But metal isn't the top of the ladder. It's the middle. Because once you can shape it precisely, once you can wind it into thin wire and spin it past a magnet, something happens that looks almost like magic. The same invisible force that died in the first second of the war comes flooding back, made by nothing but a turning arm. Metal gave you the machine. The next rung is what you make the machine do. That's where we go next. Electricity, pulled out of motion, by hand, from nothing. That's the next one.